Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope that you are doing well. So today we're gonna discuss chapter 6, problem and issue. But I'm so sorry I cannot open the video. I have some problem with the video and you cannot see my face. But it's okay. I hope that you understand what will I explain about this topic. So let's start. Okay, let's take a look at this newspaper article. Okay, on June 6, 2020. Okay, you can see here that the student representative asks Ministry of Higher Education to revise the online learning system. So, why they ask for it? It must be something disturbing them while using a online learning system. Okay, maybe it makes you uncomfortable. Okay, uh, not really confident in your learning and so on. So the question is this a problem? So this chapter will explore on the definition of problem and issue. Okay, identifying and expressing problem and issue. Okay, the types of problem, how to handle problem and the challenges of problem solving. Okay, let's start the definition of problem. So regarding the newspaper article, okay, the question is that a problem for some students? Okay, so problem can be defined as a problem as a situation that we regard as unacceptable. Okay, so if we are not accept the online learning situation, we find uncomfortable, so it is a problem. Okay, a problem also is a question to be considered, solved or answered that make us think. Okay, it could be a situation, matter or person that represent a perplexity or difficult, or misgiving, objection or complaint. And the problem solving, okay, this is what we're going to discuss next chapter. Okay, the problem solving is a process, okay, on deciding what action will change the situation for the better. For example, like you have a problem with the online learning. Okay, you feel uncomfortable, you don't have a confidence, you cannot do everything online. So maybe by asking Ministry of Higher Education to open the university again to the student, come and learn at the university will make the situation better. So this is a problem solving. Next, okay, the definition of problem and issue. Okay, the first one is problem. Now is issue. Okay, issue is a matter of intelligent and informed people disagree to some extent. So it's about a point that people argue, have some arguments on it. Either they agree or they disagree. Okay, and resolving issue is a process on deciding what to believe. Okay, or viewpoint is the most reasonable. Okay, so the problem is refer to the situation, a question that need us to answer it. Okay, issue is referred to the point that we have arguments on it. Okay, so how do we identify and express the problem or issue? First, okay, we need to ask question. For problem, okay, why we need to ask question? Because we want to create the room for agreement. Okay, we want to find the best expression of the problem because we have a different perception on the problem. And it's also open the different avenue of thought. Okay, so we can see from different perspective of the problem before we express it. So the question is, Okay, you need to ask is start with how can it be, how can it happen, okay, and some suggestion on the problem expression or problems. The question about expression of problem is, what is the problem? Is this my problem? How should I solve it? Okay, does it need to be resolved? Okay, is this a real problem? And second one is issue. Okay, the importance of asking question here is because we want to probe the central element of disputes. And you need to note the main point each side uses in its argument and turn them into a question. Okay, usually issue we start with is, does, or should. Okay, for example, like, is it possible to do that? Okay, does it affect the student learning? Okay, should we go for face-to-face learning, for example? Okay, sometimes problem can become an issue. It's because of the expression of the problem can make this problem become an controversial issue. So the way we express the problem, okay, usually may provoke or create a serious objection. This is how the problem become an issue. So as a good thinker, you need to be sensitive to the question, their assertion, and address the issue immediately. So this is a guideline to express problem and issue. First, you need to identify the challenge. Okay, you need to realize there is something is bothering you. Okay, think about your feeling. Either you feel very negative. Okay, relationship with others, are you feel comfortable with them, and the situation. Okay, are you accept the situation or not? So when you feel uncomfortable, you feel bothering about this situation, the relationship, okay, this show that you have a problem or issue. So next is express the problem or issue by asking a question. Okay, like problem is how, start with how, and issue is start with is. And then you need to refine your expression, because sometimes when we have a problem, okay, we just look at the surface. We don't go it to very deep or problem or issue. So you need to refine your expression, okay, to clear your vagueness, okay, doubt with exact and general words, and then you will find the solution. Okay, it's help you to find the solution. It's a careful expression. Okay, why we need to be very careful in express the problem or issue, especially when you are doing the process on refining your problem expression or issue. So it helps someone to first to think outside the box, okay, beyond familiarity, because sometimes we just look at the one way, okay, we don't look it on the other ways, okay. So it's change our habit and usual way of thinking, and then it helps us to thinking flexible, okay, to see things from different perspective and create a flexible mindset. And lastly is to open many lines of thought. Okay, various form of thought in problem solving and issue is very important, and it's allow us to become more creative, okay, and to avoid narrow mindedness. So there are two form of problems. First is structured problem, and second is unstructured problem. So structured problem is a very straightforward and clear problem. Okay, we know the structure, okay, and we know how to solve it. And structured problem is a repetitive problem, and it can be handled by a routine approach. Meanwhile, unstructured problem usually is a new or unusual problem. Okay, it's come with the ambiguous or incomplete information, and a problem needs an immediate solution. Okay. So there are some challenges on problem solving. Okay, usually when we have a problem, okay, we cannot solve it directly, okay, or we are not solve the problem practically, okay, and sometimes we are fail to solve that problem. So why? Because we do not differentiate between the simple problem and complex problem. Okay, we are confusing what step we should do, okay, to solve the problem, because we don't know either it's a simple or complex problem. So simple problem is a clear defined formula and solution. Okay, the problem has a very clear solution, and simple problem has a closure. Meanwhile, a complex problem is something there is no formula, definitive solution, and because we have a lot of different people, okay, we get a different agreement from them. So first you need to differentiate between the simple and complex problem, and then you find the solution. Okay, now we move to the types of problem. We have 12, okay, and I will explain briefly the point here, and later you can read from the textbook, or you find some information on the internet to look at the types of problem. Okay, now we start. The first one is routine. Okay, routine is a problem that need us to use a set of strategies. Okay, we already know how to solve it. There are procedures and rules to solve the problem. For example, 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Okay, so it's a very routine. Okay, we already know the answer, or we already know how to solve it. And then second is non-routine. Okay, a problem that need us to use a strategy or method that not guarantee a solution to a problem. We need to try and error. Okay, we don't know the structure. We don't know how to solve it because it's not our routine. For example, like the algebra question, okay, you can look from different angles and methods to solve this question, but maybe it's not a guarantee to get a right answer. Okay, next is wicked problem. So it's a problem that is difficult to solve because of incomplete, contradictory, changing requirements that are often difficult to recognize. Okay, it's also referred as an ill-defined or tricky problem. For example, like a COVID-19 problem that we have now, or you can see at the early stage of the COVID-19, it's not really easy to solve it, okay? Because it was the first time happened in our country, okay? And it's very contradict from other cases of flu like H1N1, influenza, and so on. So we need to tackle it very well. Okay, and then it's vicious, okay? In bracket is a circle problem. Okay, it's referred to the problem that probably create a new problem. So the solution caused the original problem to occur again. So it's a cycle. It starts with the first problem, the original one, okay, and then when you get a new solution, okay, it's create another problem, and then sometime when you fail to solve it or you manage to solve it, it still happen again, the original problem. For example, like low status, socioeconomic status. Okay, we know that some of the family come from B40. Okay, so they hope that their children will change their life, okay, their status. But when the student not get a degree, okay, or maybe some of them get a degree but didn't get a job, so it's not solve the socioeconomic status in the family. They are still in the same level. Next is a complex problem. Okay, complex problem usually involve many variables, constraints, and parties. For example, like to restart the company after bankruptcy. So there are many things, many parties involved, like workers, like supplier, and so on. Okay, the constraint like time, money, capital, and so on. Okay, in order to restart the company. Next is a moral dilemma problem. Okay, it's referred to this a problem that solution may be unethical or immoral, like break the universal or human principles. For example, like in Malaysia, in the early year, maybe last year, there is a hot issue like mandatory death punishment. Okay, so it's kind of like a moral dilemma. Either we should punish, uh, what we call it, banduan, okay, for mandatory death or not, due to the um, crime, the criminal case. Okay. Next is urgent problem. Okay, urgent problem require immediate or quick decision. Okay, for example, like when someone got heart attack. Okay, what should you do? You need to have a quick decision, quick action. Okay, to save the to save someone with the heart attack. Okay, next is critical problem. Critical refer to the condition that result in a complete system failure. Okay, that affect proper performance or critical function, and maybe affect loss of 50% of board. Okay, for example, again on the COVID-19, okay, it's a critical problem. Okay, because we need to think about people's safety at the same time. Okay, we don't want to lose the profit of our country. We need to save our economy as well. So this is a critical problem. Next is unfamiliar problem. Okay, it's referred to the problem situation that happen or solve outside our norm. Okay, we are not really get into it. For example, like using ICT or new application for online learning. So it is unfamiliar problem. Okay, we use internet all day. Okay, something unfamiliar. Okay, for learning situation. And then we have a persistent problem. Okay, a problem that keep recurring from time to time. Okay, for example, like a loss of connection or Wi-Fi problem during online class. Okay, it keep happen. Okay, from one class to another class. Okay, so it is a persistent problem that you need to think. Then we move to interpersonal problem. Okay, problem that involve two or more individuals that affect their life. For example, like getting married during MCO. Okay, so there are many things we need to consider, and there are many people involved, like the parents of the bride, okay, the groom, okay, and then yeah, the family, and so on. And then the last one is management problem. Okay, problem that arises in the field of management. Okay, for example, like to fire a worker due to company loss. Okay, in the COVID-19 situation, we can see there are increasing of unemployment. Okay, in the industry. Okay, so it's not really easy to okay, it's not really easy to fire a worker or employer or employee. So there are many things that they have need to think about. Okay, last one is to look at the Islamic view of problems. Okay, so of course every day we have a problems. Okay, every minute, every time, Allah tests us with the problem. So a lot of Muslims actually solve problem, but they are not using the Islamic approach. And even though um, they are aware, okay, they are still not put into practice. So maybe some of us also is not aware of the correct Islamic method of solving problem. So the Muslim creed concerning problem must be in line with the statement of Allah in the Al-Quran that read this, okay, in the Surah At-Tawbah and Al-Baqarah. Whatever problem you have, you must depends on Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, because Allah have the power to solve the problem, okay, and make sure whatever decision you take, okay, to solve the problem is in line with the Sharia. So I think that's all for today's class. Okay, I hope that you understand about the problem and issue. There are differences between the problem and issue. Okay, there are many types of problem, and okay, we will look at the problem solving and decision making in the next chapter. Okay, next week inshallah. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.